to the death battle. Sorry, I'm kind of waking up still and having a quick brunch snack. Anyway, welcome to Magneto vs Tetsuo, one I've been dreading for quite some time. One I've got into huge ass fucking correction bullshit because we all know magnetism and telekinesis is not the same, but that's besides the point. You're here to see the anime fan inside cry, but yet me witness of something, I guess. But anyways, I love Akira. Okay, Akira is like one of the best anime movies from the 90s and late 80s, early 90s to be precise. And just seeing Tetsuo get demolished by Magneto will probably not be the greatest thing I've ever endured. So I'm ready for you, Death Battle. Do your worst. Ow. Also, link will be in the
Magneto,
description
Marvel's mutant master of magnetism.
for this video.
Tetsuo Shima, Akira's telekinetic terror of Neo-Tokyo.
These two maestros of kinesis have ignited revolution not just in their worlds, but also the very mediums they exist within.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright.
In the short duration of modern civilization, likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In the primary Marvel 616 universe, this fact is no different, especially to the Eisenhart family and their only son.
You may know him as Magnus, Eric, or Max, but if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany, Magneto's early life was, well, extremely traumatic.
Even after eventually escaping certain death with his future wife, misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his unexpected mutation called the X gene, the mark of a superhuman. After settling down in Russia with his new family, the KGB quickly found out about this quirk, so they burned his house down with his own daughter inside.
Naturally, he snapped and killed them all. I don't blame him, I'd do that too. Too bad his wife didn't get it and ditched him though. But that's when Magneto made a choice. Since humans hurt him his entire life, he'd do the same to them in the name of mutants everywhere.
At first, Magneto turned to the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically move, bend, and reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it.
Shut up. First of all, Magneto does not use telekinesis. Second of all, it's a totally different thing. But since you said magnekesis, that's not even a fucking word, I'll let you slide. That should say magnetism, but I'll let you slide on that one. This battle's gonna break me, isn't it? I know this battle's gonna break me. This battle's gonna fucking break me. So anyway, magnekesis, that's still not even a fucking word. Flight, magnetic barriers, energy manipulation, absorption, biological manipulation, matter manipulation, extrasensory perception, gravity manipulation, telepathy, and mind resistance, astral projection, and wormhole creation.
Name it, even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetic kinesis is far more versatile than it would appear.
It's magnetism, not this episode is gonna break me. This episode is gonna break me super badly.
At first glance, the blood in your body has iron in it. The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined with metallic ore. The Earth itself is surrounded by a literal magnetic field.
So many toys for Maggie to play with. He can detect magnetic fields at such a huge range, he can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic rays while stranded on a planet in another galaxy. And guess what? He was able to use those rays to pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
His range is even more remarkable than that.
Pretty much.
Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
So what you're saying is Magneto could, like, yank one of those out?
Correct, potentially changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and...
Finally!
Did I just witness Boomstick just destroy Dummy?
Do that. Magneto's violent protest
Wow.
against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful reconciliation, not unlike the ideologies taught by Malcolm X and Dr. King, by whom Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were inspired. Magneto would spend most of his career pushing Xavier away to prove his philosophies superior, which meant doing battle with Xavier's school of thought, quite literally.
And Baldy's mind powers are no joke, but thanks to Magneto's psionic repelling helmet, Professor X couldn't touch him. Magneto survived Cyclops' earth-splitting lasers.
Yeah, shush, Boomstick. Pulled the Blake World bullet at near light speed, flew between galaxies in a short time frame, punched Iron Man with the force of the sun, overpowered Hercules and Thor's hammer, ripped apart Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, survived a miniaturized neutron star bullet, resisted mental attacks from Professor X and Emma Frost, defeated the X-Men, Avengers, Red Skull, and Apocalypse!
Absorbed the power of the sun to battle Iron Man, ripped the adamantium skeleton out of Wolverine's body, and even taken on Hercules himself. You know, the Greek legend, Zero to Hero? The guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas? That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
While Phoenix's full power is far greater than just a planet level, she's been weakened prior to Magneto defeating her and is beyond him at her full strength.
If he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth off its axis.
It's entirely possible he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet eventually, his path was completely changed. He even became a leader for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you can bet Magneto will be there to annihilate it. Forever. By any means necessary.
Yeah. Now comes Tetsuo's analysis. Now, like I said, I love Akira. The film, best cyberpunk-esque film I've ever watched. Best cyberpunk anime story I ever watched.
Over 30 years ago, a new
I
type
just
of
hope
bomb was
they
set
get
off
the
over
lore
Tokyo,
right.
and 9 hours later began the Third World War.
Welcome to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime Chad. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need to get me one of those.
And then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's... well...
the exact opposite. A total wimp. As a kid, Tetsuo in his college thesis forehead got bullied for being the new...
Tetsuo Shima, 19. I didn't even read how old Magneto is. Was it? Shit, how old is Magneto? Okay. Hang on. Let me find my, ow. God damn it. Controller, will you stop falling off? Give me a sec, guys. Give me my phone. Okay, just give me a moment while I, figure out how old he is, but yeah, anyways, Tetsuo's 19, height, weight, 5'4", in height, weight 103, Esper number 41, X-Capsule gang member, X-Clown gang leader, dictator of the illustrious Great Tokyo Empire. Let me see here. Magneto is how old? Doesn't even say his age. Didn't even say his age. Okay.
You kid at the orphanage. That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
Eventually, the two went to vocational school together and formed the Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
Oh, I can just see that monkey's paw curling in my mind. Or that kid walking down the street. Shit! Tetsuo, watch out! You're gonna... That definitely should have killed him. But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital ward effortlessly flying, reading minds, and blending people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
A hunger that used to only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug, pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
So, pretty bad. Kinda reminds me of college days, huh, Snow Wizard?
Tetsuo's main ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more and more powerful over time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
Either way, Tetsuo leveled up from lame gangbuster to certified badass. This guy is a...
Okay, so Espers take advantage of the flow of universal energy created by the Big Bang. Its destructive nature is in part due to promoting humanity's evolution.
Walking natural disaster. His telekinesis can shake the planet, easily cause earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon psychic barriers for defense and crush foes with friggin' gravity wells. He can dart around as a literal bolt of lightning, or even teleport in an instant.
Tetsuo's telekinesis can be so precise he can target and obliterate specific parts of the body. He can heal severe wounds quickly, but even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby material.
Alright, see, telekinesis, psychic barriers, regeneration, inorganic absorption, gravitational wells, fight and teleportation, lightning maneuverability, telepathy, continuous growth and power over time, ego collapse form. Oh, right. The giant blob form that happens at the end of the film. That ends up kickstarting a new Big Bang.
He wants.
With these powers, Top Dog Kaneda didn't matter anymore. Who needed his approval? Tetsuo tasted that good shit and he was hooked. And when he found out another Esper named Akira could deal him even more power, he rampaged through Tokyo to find him.
And this is where versions of the story differ.
Spoilers ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been dissected for research. However, in the original manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little runt nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would erect the Great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kanada's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse.
See in the original anime.
To fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful espers, dodged light-speed lasers,
caused an 8.5 magnitude earthquake, obliterated a Seoul satellite, created the moon, could destroy Earth 100 times over, dodged light-speed lasers, leaped to the moon faster than sight, survived multiple nuclear laser blasts, defeated Kei, Leto Miyako, and the U.S. Navy fleet.
And jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink, and then punched a big old hole in it. And if you ask, Boomstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because it totally did. Screwed the planet, I guess. Stupid moon.
Which brings us to Tetsuo's folly. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kanada's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, as Tetsuo painfully mutated into an unstoppable behemoth.
Yep, that's not totally disturbing at all.
I'm happy to say the manga's version is even more disturbing.
I mean, I know babies can be monsters, but that's a whole nother level.
It is pain incarnate. I can relate. Another Esper described Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
Yeah, it's described as a shedding of one's own identity, like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new perspective. Though this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could shed out of my body. But in this case, Tetsuo going full out-of-body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost nuked Tokyo all over again. And those explosions are not normal. I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Given its properties of nuclear fusion and proton collapse, Tetsuo's mutated form was likely creating a Big Bang.
You know, the thing that started our whole universe?
Right. In the manga, it instead ended the Espers and their abilities once and for all. A testament that humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though the anime's even more trippy. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe. Kinda worth it, right?
And yet, Kanada...
Tetsuo obtaining omniscience is not canon to the original manga and cannot be applied to an arbitrary level of power.
...kept his empire up in his honor, now as the Great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention he so desperately craved. Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
This up.
It's time for a death battle!
I'm ready for your death battle. Do your worst.
Even in Japan, they fail to recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa! You're an Akira turf now! You're dead meat!
Impudent child!
The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here!
You're wasting my time. Parlor tricks for the master of magnetism.
Your history, scumbag!
Tones and personalities, right?
I've had enough tantrums to last a lifetime.
Oh, he's going ego death. Just like the movie. And that is just as disturbing as it was in the original manga and movie.
Listen, welcome. I'll handle this on my own. Not die. Hurts. Help me.
Poor child.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Well, that was downright accurate. Downright to the source material. Let me get this straight, Death Battle. Despite the inaccuracies of the superpowers that Magneto has, you managed to pull off a entertaining episode with an emotional ending. What are you, Death Battle? You're like an enigma inside a mysterious tomb that has unanswered questions. Okay. Death Battle was once again proving me wrong on my expectations.
KO! Tetsuo! Oh, God. Yeah. I'm never doing that again.
Tetsuo's esoteric telekinesis and other
Ooh, it literally was pretty close. But Magneto outclassed him by just one more ability. Stronger, faster, tougher, magnetism. I'm gonna call it magnetism because it's not called magnekinesis in my mind, because I always remembered it being called magnetism. Ugh. Anyways, magnetism can counter Tetsuo's offense. Magnetic senses counter Tetsuo's mobility. Had inferior healing options. Tetsuo could grow more powerful. Tetsuo could kill Magneto without a shield. Telekinesis had a broader range of effect, though his application was less versatile. Overexertion risked bodily harm, far less combat and tactical experience.
bizarre abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the Master of Magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun. And while Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held a sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but
Precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And his scraps with Xavier prove he could handle Tetsuo's messing with his head. The biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Especially given how the detonations from this form were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although the authenticity of that observation is questionable. In truth, the Big Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale, whereas Tetsuo's explosions are more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating or destroying an entire universe, alternate or otherwise.
Turns out Magneto had the tools to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with a snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons. And Magneto has detected and commanded unstable electrons before. This means Magneto had every means available to take control over this Big Bang.
Damn, and I thought he could just move some metal around. It's like the question posed by some of the greatest prophets of our time. Fucking magnets. How do they even work?
Magneto's astonishing power and
Really
intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Tetsuo pushed his luck, but didn't have the metal to pull off the win.
The winner is
That
Magneto.
was a terrible pun.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you'd like to directly support the whole Death Battle team, click that join button and consider becoming a member. We'd really appreciate it.
Again.
Hope you like the next one.
On to the next one. Oh! Greek mythology? Chinese mythology? Okay. You got my attention. You got my attention. You got my attention. I'm a sucker for mythologies. I am now curious who would win that. Hercules, whose story is very, very fucking tragic. If you don't remember the lore of the mythology, you probably need to do some research, because, yeah, it's not a pretty story. And it ain't like the whole lighthearted thing like you see in Disney or Marvel. This one's actually tragic. As for Sun Wukong, I gotta re-look into it again because it's been a while since I looked into my mythologies, but that's right, I am a big sucker for mythologies. And please me, don't start nerding out about mythologies. Ugh. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this. But yeah, good job, Death Battle. You once again managed to prove my expectations wrong once again. So, definitely looking forward to the next one. So, anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed this. So, let me go roll those credits. That's not it. I need end credits. Like I said, thank you, Death Battle. We're good, Death Battle. We're good. Thank you for enlightening me and proving my expectations wrong once again. So, hopefully you all enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to the next episode. Till then, your Captain of Hedgewolf signing off. I'll see you in the next stream.